So I guess I'm going to just share my quick thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2, which was given more detail during the Nintendo Direct today. And I have to say, most of the news that I've heard is pretty encouraging and very positive. So the biggest point of contention, we'll just start off by talking about the price. $450 for the base model of the Switch 2, but then it's $500 for the bundle with Mario Kart World, which will be a launch title for the system. For a lot of people, that seems really steep, because the original Switch in 2017 launched for $300. But keep in mind, the original Switch never came down in price, outside of a few special deals here and there, but it was pretty firm at the $299 price point during its entire life cycle, which to me was always an indication that the price was going to increase for the new generation Switch. The most important thing is that it's priced competitively with the Steam Deck and other handheld gaming machines that have popped up in recent years, so it's still not necessarily a deal breaker, and considering the way the economy's been now compared to what it was when the original Switch came out, it really doesn't come as a shocker to me that it's going to be $450. I mean, it's considerably more powerful than the base model Switch. It obviously is not going to be like PS5 level in terms of fidelity and performance, but it's still going to hold its own fairly well, and it is a much more powerful machine than the original Switch. It is more powerful than the Steam Deck, at least for now. I'm sure they're going to make a new Steam Deck that's upgraded, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. They got Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and all of these exclusive IPs that really is like an experience that you can't have anywhere else. So regardless of what everyone else is doing, I think the Switch 2 is going to do just fine and is going to be pretty successful. Not as successful, I don't think, as the original Switch. I think the novelty is going to wear out for certain percentage of the original customer base. But, 256 gigabytes is a huge improvement over 32, and I know the games are going to be bigger, obviously. But considering what you get, 450, not that bad, honestly. And I'm someone who has kind of had a reputation over the years online as being a Nintendo hater and just saying anything I can to be negative, but in this particular case, I'm not going to be jumping on that. Everything else, like I mentioned, the storage, the graphics, and everything else, like they got a real solid foundation here, and the third-party support they announced at the Nintendo Direct was insane. I mean, Cyberpunk was definitely the one that stood out the most, but it seems like we're going to get, because the Switch 2 is at least more on par with the other consoles, we're going to get some third-party support initially, like at least increased third-party support, rather. And the From Software game, too. Holy shit, that looks really good. But I think, honestly, in a couple of years' time, when the PlayStation 6 and whatever the next Xbox is going to be called, we're going to be back to square one as far as that's concerned, because it's going to be way behind the 10th generation consoles. And that's not a controversial statement, that's just reality. I mean, they were able to do a lot of magic with a lot of these ports for the original Switch, like Doom Eternal, and The Witcher 3, a lot of games that honestly probably shouldn't run on the Switch, and they made a lot of compromises in terms of frame rate and performance and everything else. And so it's really hard. I can't make a definitive judgment as of right now, because we haven't actually seen these games in action. We didn't get the Digital Foundry treatment quite yet, because the games aren't actually available. The console is coming out, I think it's June 3rd or June 4th, whatever day it is. It is in early June. I do remember that. And a lot of people were like, oh my god, it's coming out so soon after the full-on reveal. Well, yeah, Nintendo did the same thing, kind of, with the original Switch. I think it was October of 2016 or November, and then it was March when the console came out. And of course, it was a couple of months ago, I think it was February, or maybe it was January, that the Switch 2 was actually announced by Nintendo. So the timeline adds up. Basically, it goes in line with what Nintendo did last time around. And honestly, yeah, I mean, Mario Kart being a launch title is very exciting, and that was a must for them. I mean, Mario Kart 8 was awesome, but it's definitely run its course, both figuratively and literally. So it's good that we have a new game in there, and that is going to be, that alone is going to be a system seller for many people. And I guess we should also talk about the other controversy related to Mario Kart. It's going to be priced at $80, the most expensive base price for any video game, because most games at this point went from 60 to 70 a number of years ago, but 80? But I'm not necessarily going to go crazy about that, as much as I think it's kind of fucked up. But I think it's more of a strategy where it's like, okay, buy the $500 console because you're going to be getting a good discount. Because if you get the base console for $450 and then spend $80 on the Mario Kart separately, then you're paying an extra $30 for no reason. So I think it was just their way of incentivizing more sales for the Mario Kart bundle, and it is what it is. I don't know necessarily that they're going to go the direction of putting all their games at $80. I mean, look, guys, Nintendo is known for being really pricey and never coming down in price with anything, whether it's their hardware, their games, or anything else. So whatever they can get away with, they're going to do. So I can spend another 5 minutes ranting about Nintendo and how this game being priced at $80 is the most evil anti-consumer thing. And, I mean, again, we don't know if any other games are going to be priced at $80. It doesn't seem like it is. It seems like 70 is the normal, I think, still. The baseline. But at the end of the day, the responsibility, and I've said this so many times before, the responsibility lies within you, the consumer, if you're willing to put up with it. Because if you complain and bitch and whine about how unfair and how anti-consumer Nintendo or whatever other company is, but then you end up ponying up the cash anyway, what are you doing to make a difference there? And the fact of the matter is, Nintendo is such a prestigious brand, Mario Kart is such a prestigious brand, that I think they could charge $100 and still sell millions of copies. I'm just being real. So that's not me being a Nintendo defender and justifying what they're doing, but I'm kind of justifying it from a business perspective and from, just for the sake of making profits. They're obviously going to make out like a bandit. They're going to get away with it, and people are going to happily pay whatever they charge. So that's food for thought right there. And we also have, what else did they announce that I forgot about? Oh, the Donkey Kong game. Oh my god, looks fantastic. I don't know. I'm not decided yet on whether or not I'm going to actually go and buy a Switch 2 myself, mostly because it's just not for me. I mean, I have nothing against Nintendo or Nintendo games. It's not me trying to say, oh, I'm too cool for Nintendo. I'm too old for Nintendo. It kind of does feel like that, though. Kind of. But it's more so, like, it being mostly a handheld that I don't really have any use for. I mean, the whole selling point when they started the presentation was that it's a bigger screen. I'm like, no, you're going the wrong direction. That's the opposite of what I wanted. I wanted one that was more portable and could actually fit in my pocket and was actually convenient for me to carry around and not have to have, like, a knapsack for it. So, I know myself. If I got a Switch 2, I would just use it as a home console, which is fine, because that's part of the intended use, but you're limiting the hardware and the capabilities of the console for the sake of the portability, but the portability, in my opinion, is pretty useless. So, again, that's just my own opinions. I'm kind of just away from console gaming at this point anyway. I'm pretty far detached from it. I'm PC all the way. So I kind of laughed when that another one of their big announcements was the GameCube for Switch Online. A bunch of games coming out on there. I think Twilight Princess is one of them. Soul Calibur 2, I believe, is another. And they named a couple other ones, too. Like, bitch, I got Dolphin. I don't care about that shit. So that ain't no selling point for me. But let me know in the comment section, what did you guys think about Nintendo's Direct for the Switch 2 and all the news that they dropped? And, what are some things that you like and that you're excited about, and some other things that you're not so excited about? We finally have in-game voice chat, guys. That was one other thing that I forgot to mention. That's also very funny. That should have been a feature for the fucking Wii. Never mind finally getting it on the Switch 2. So, I mean, hey, a win's a win. At least you don't have to use that shitty app on your phone anymore. And at least have a better time trying to justify the paid online for the Switch. But I want to know all your thoughts in the comments down below.